2017 Harley-Davidson 48, Ride Review. When I mentioned to Chris that I planned on flying into Los Angeles to pick up the bike and ride it back to San Jose, where I live, he gave me some very sound advice. My personal advice is to put the bike on a truck if you can. Remember, it will be heavier and have a longer wheelbase than your sport bikes, he said. The 48 is a really fun bike, but it may not be the best idea to have your first Harley experience consist of a 350-mile haul-on-one. This isn't a touring model and the suspension will reflect that fact. I thought about what he said for a few days, but then decided against following it even after looking at the specs. He was right about the suspension. The front has non-adjustable 49mm forks with 3.6 inches of travel, whereas the rear is equipped with preload adjustable emulsion shocks with 1.6 inches of travel. When I looked at how much gas the bike could hold, I immediately thought, holy guacamole, Batman, the tank is small. It's only 2.1 gallons. But then I followed up with, no worries, my FZ09 has a pretty small tank, 3.7 gallons, and gets great gas mileage. HD is claiming 48 miles per gallon. It won't be so bad. First impressions. The Harley-Davidson 48 first hit the market in 2010 and got its name from the year that Harley created its first peanut tank, 1948, which was used on the 125S model. That tank is what catches the eye initially, and the rest of the bike flows and curves around it. What also made the tank pop out even more on this particular model was the color, Candy Hot Rod Red Flake. It's absolutely stunning. Seeing the 48 in person made me realize that pictures don't do it justice, you just have to see it in real life to really appreciate the looks. I was taken back by how small the 48 is in real life. I was expecting the 48 to be much bigger, and a bike that I would need to constantly muscle. But no, at 551 pounds, this bike is much lighter than other HDs. Also, on paper, the seat height doesn't sound that low, 27.3 inches, but again, in person it was a different story. When I sat down it was a tad disorienting at how low to the ground I was. Dorothy Davidson. Eventually, the traffic cleared as I made my way north. And soon I was able to see what the 48's 1202cc Evolution V twin engine had to offer. I don't want to sit here and complain about a bike that many people love, but, well, I wasn't a fan of the vibrations. I didn't like sitting at a stoplight due to how bad this bike vibrates. But I realize this shaking is a Harley thing. Some people feel this sensation is what defines a Harley, and to ride one, you just have to accept it for what it is. Picking up gears was pretty smooth and the 48 was quick to get up to highway speeds. However, once I got over 85 miles per hour, there was a little bit of a wobble, so I never felt like pushing my luck to find out exactly what the 48 was capable of. Also, hitting rough pavement was painful due to the beyond stiff front suspension. Dorothy and I hit some twisty roads heading into Los Olivos. She wasn't so bad going into these not too tight corners, the riding position made a little more sense here. And the bike even induced a smile since I just love being out and about on two wheels. Even though Dorothy wasn't my typical kind of ride, I embraced the roads, my surroundings, and the thrill that riding a motorcycle brings. I saw my fuel light blink on, but figured I'd make it to town. I naively believed that this bike would produce the claimed 48 miles per gallon. Nope. Ridden with any sort of enthusiasm, Dorothy will manage something closer to 40 miles per gallon. Right as I hit 81 miles on my odometer, she sputtered to a stop. Of course, I was in the middle of nowhere with spotty cell reception. This gave me a chance to experience one of the benefits of being a Harley rider. There are lots of others like you, and they're usually happy to stop and help or, at the very least, commiserate. I was stranded on the side of the road for no more than 5 minutes with my thumb out when a fellow HD rider stopped to assist. His name was Todd and he was on a carbureted Harley, which was great because we were able to siphon gas out of his tank and pop it into mine by unplugging the carb feed line and poured gas into an empty water bottle. We carefully made our way to the next gas station, about 10 miles down the road. I'm forever grateful to him for helping me out. If you're reading this, Todd, thank you again. The incident made me more on the cautious side. From then on I would stop once I had clocked up 60-ish miles of riding. During my time with the bike, I tried desperately to figure out what the point of the 48 is. I mean, why would I or anyone else buy this bike? Yes, you technically can ride it 350 miles, the engine has no trouble keeping up, but it's not the ideal purchase if that's something you want to do frequently. I couldn't take her on group rides because I'd have to stop every 60-70 miles. So, I guess she's a good city cruiser? But even in around town riding she can frustrate. I couldn't go to the gym on this bike because there's no place to fit a gym bag. The 48 is a popular model, though, so clearly not everyone sees things from my perspective. If I were dead set on getting one I'd definitely buy used. The bike received an upgraded suspension for the 2016 model year, but beyond that, it has hardly changed since its 2010 release. You can pick up an older model in the 5K to 7K range. Ultimately, my experience with Dorothy taught me that I'm not really a cruiser girl. That's fine, I realize there are plenty of girls who hate sport bikes. And even though cruisers aren't my style of bike, I'm glad I rode the 48. It's different and gave me insight into a genre of motorcycle that so many people cherish and love. And I'll admit, I can't help but thinking about Dorothy every now and then. She sure looks good in my driveway.